So I'm going today to talk about the 3 topics I like the most: open source, IT, and media. But let me start with a short poll. Who of you has a cookie banner on the website? Please raise your hands. Okay, easy half. Who of you hates cookie banners and hates clicking on cookie banners? Yeah, me too. So what we actually built is like an open source cookie banner on steroids, and I will tell you about the story, how it came to be. But let me first starting with who I am. I'm CTO of Axel Springer Ideas Engineering. We are like an in-house software development department or product agency for Axel Springer. So I'm not working for the Axel Springer holding, but with one of the sub-companies. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but it's not a story about my company. If you have any questions, come to me. What I'm going to talk to you about is, the OIL.js, the opt-in and transparency layer. If you ask me who uses the opt-in and transparency layer currently, I don't know. It's open source, so anybody can use it. I can only tell you about some cases who uses. For example, a lot of border forward websites. The Playboy calendar was mentioned beforehand. If you go to the German Playboy website, you will see our opt-in layer, for example. Or Business Insider, one of our biggest growing international publications, uses our opt-in layer, and a lot of different other sites, even from Israel. So I have a quite short agenda, because it's the 4th talk before the break. Will be a little bit hard. I'm first starting with you, to tell you about GDPR and ePrivacy. Then I'm giving you some thoughts about the strategic impact this may have on our business models, or may not have, and some product details about the opt-in layer. But let me first start with a video I saw first in Brussels in February 2017.
2018. Europe is the tech mecca. Startups are flourishing, consumers are enjoying the best apps available, and revenue from data-driven ads helps make that possible. Until one day, the apps go dark. Data-driven advertising is no more. Less revenue, fewer startups, fewer apps. An appless future consumers never saw coming. From tech mecca to tech wasteland. Enter the apocalypse, coming soon to cinemas.
So if you want to see more about these movies, go to likeabadmovie.eu. It was only advertised in Brussels for the EU Parliament. So that's what I started with in February 2017. The first or the second draft of the ePrivacy regulation was published, and everybody who read it was like, oh wow, this is going to kill a lot of our business models. And we already had the GDPR, and as you all know already, after the 25th of this year, GDPR came into place. So it says legal basis can be consent or legitimate interest. It also says the old ePrivacy directive remains in force if you have a national law. In Germany, we have a national law. The Telemediengesetz section 15. So that's the reason Axel Springer is not using cookie banners on most of our websites, because we think we don't need consent currently, because we have the Telemediengesetz, the German law, but there's a threat, and the threat is ePrivacy. And ePrivacy is so strict, and I must say I'm a member of the Chaos Computer Club. I like privacy and I like data privacy. But ePrivacy would kill a lot of business models. So for example, what is personal information after ePrivacy? Even generating a pseudonymous ID and writing it into a cookie would be a violation of GDPR and ePrivacy after ePrivacy. So this is even personal information, a cookie tracking ID. And the second is you are prohibited to couple your business to the consent to the user. So you're not allowed to change the site if the user gives consent or not consent. And the second or the third thing is browser supremacy. This is also a threat. If Mozilla or Firefox, for example, comes with like a setting where the users can say, please don't track me, and the law is saying you need to be strict and you are not allowed to track the users anymore. So there's a lot of business models we have which would not work anymore. All digital stuff, currently business models. So, and I also need to tell you a little bit about me. I actually studied electrical engineering. I did work for, I worked for a mining site. I wrote software for power plants. Afterwards, I was working for governments. I did some crypto stuff for voting software. This is easy peasy. So when I joined our movement for GDPR and ePrivacy in 2017, I learned that digital ads, this is like rocket science. So I didn't know a lot about digital ads, but it's really hardcore stuff. So but first let's go on to the impact. So worse user experiences, the cookie banner will be the first thing every user sees. That's the reason most people don't like cookie banners. It's the first thing you see, you need to click on it, it's really not good, and especially on mobile, it's a bad experience. And personalization, you can impact on advertisement, journalistic diversity. So, as I already said, it's not good. So our strategy is in two parts. We have like logged-in traffic. So if ePrivacy really comes into place, we have a VeryMe, like a login provider, where we can share with different companies that there was already given consent. And we built a tool for pseudonymous traffic. So if you don't know the user, he clicks on a cookie banner. Yeah. But what we first were doing was, like in 2017, we thought, okay, if this really comes into place, ePrivacy, what are we going to do? So we started A/B testing on a lot of different websites. That's when this project started, the opt-in layer. So we wanted to build something which we can A/B test on different websites. We tested it on Finanzen.net, Welt.net, Music Express, Rolling Stone, and some other websites with some 100,000 users in different steps. We tried out some really great stuff. For example, we built a pre-roll video where we were saying journalism is great and journalism needs your support. Please click OK. Can anybody say if it's a good idea to create pre-roll videos? It was a really bad idea. So the consent rate was like 25%. So with an optimized banner, with a good text, we came to like 80% opt-in rates. And in some of our subsidiaries, we came over 90% nowadays. And what the thing is you want standardization. You don't want to implement a cookie banner and loading text or not loading text on every website. You need a standard. So one of the things we also did was lobby work with IAB Europe. There's also IAB Germany. It's called BVDW. It's like the Bundesverband Digitale Wirtschaft, where publishers and ad industry come together, work together. Because what you actually need to do with a cookie banner, if the user does not opt in, you're not allowed to track him, to load any other tracking software, or to use his data with any third-party software. So by technical means, what you need to do, you need to block text from your website. And the problem is, if you're displaying advertisements, there's first-party software loaded into your website. So if you display an ad, there will be also JavaScript code and tracking software from this ad provider. And if every publisher and every website wants to prevent this, they would do like customization of a lot of software stack from them. So the only solution you have is creating like a standard. And that's what we were going to do with the transparency and consent framework developed together with the IAB Europe. And the standard we developed with them, it consists of 5 things, like purposes, because you need combined and community understanding which purposes exist. For example, digital ads, personalization, and stuff like that. So if you want to have a standard and the user clicks on OK, you need a shared understanding which purposes did he consent and did he not consent for. The next thing is a consent forwarding. If I have a digital advertisement on my website and some first-party stuff gets loaded to my website, I need to forward a given consent or an opt-out to this first-party provider. And the third thing is a publisher vendors JSON. Data leakage is a problem on a lot of websites. So I want to say this company gets data from me and this company does not get data from me. And with this pub vendors JSON is like a file you can store on your website, and everybody adhering to the standard needs also to adhere to your settings. And the fourth thing is the global vendor list. So every vendor needs to say, yeah, I'm adhering to your policies and everything is fine. And the thing we actually built as an open source tool is a consent management provider. It's like the implementation of the software code with the consent forwarding, with a JavaScript API, and with an optional UI. So this is what it looks like. It's actually a cookie banner with some extra links and some second or third views. It's GDPR compliant. We had a lot of lawyers look onto the texts. And we have a second view. It's a cookie preference center. This is, for example, for the new customer self-care center, Kundenkonto in German, your account, from build.de, which will be released in the beginning of next year. And you can include our open source opt-in layer as a privacy manager in like your customer account. Now, this gives your customers transparency where they can opt in and cannot opt in. And we made a lot of tests, how many users click on the second layer, like this more information link. And it depends on which website we tested it. So there were websites like Imowelt, where we had like 200,000 unique users, where under 1% clicked on more information. But the recent tests we did on different websites, we had up to like 5% of the users clicking on more information, like power data privacy users, obviously. And the fun fact about it is they didn't turn off everything. So most users turned off something, but the majority of the users only disabled like personalization of advertisement, because this kind of like yellow boots following you through the whole internet, people don't like the kind of stuff. Yeah, if you want to check it out, it's on GitHub, us-ideas/oil, and we even made like a landing page, OIL.js.org. And in the talk about Microsoft, I asked a question about GPL license. It's under GPL license, no Apache MIT license. It's quite interesting. So if you're interested in open source licenses, come to me. I love to talk about it. And thing we were always aiming for is like it should run on old browsers. This even runs on Internet Explorer 9 or Opera 12 perfectly. It has a lot of custom JavaScript code because this consent forwarding is binary encoded. That's part of the standard binary encoded consent forwarding, because performance is always like a huge impact with digital advertisement. Yeah. And if you want to configure it, we also made like a sandbox, which is also open source. It's under sandbox.oil.js.org, where you can click together your configuration, copy the code, and have a custom configuration. So, for example, there are like advanced features like shared consent between multiple domains via a shared cookie, which you can configure here. It's kind of technically and hard to configure. And we even created a back office, because Axel Springer is running like 200 to 300 sites, even only in Germany. If you roll out a custom cookie banner on every website, this would take a lot of effort. Customizing every website, going to the web developers, telling them what to do. We created a back office where you can just combine like your configuration, your text, and the code, upload it to CDN, and just give the website like this code here above. We'll just say, yeah, just include this in the website, and you are safe. Yeah. What we're currently aiming for is like a mobile app SDK, because mobile apps are always quite different. So we developed one with our in-house teams, but we didn't open source it yet, and we're always looking for like open source contributors, obviously. ePrivacy, I always mentioned it. It got shifted backwards time after time. It was actually scheduled to be released on in May 2018, but they are currently still working on the third draft, because there were so many people working against the ePrivacy draft that this is kind of a success that it gets rescheduled and redrafted. So the question is, why did we build something to use? Why did we put a lot of work in standardizing a protocol and then make it open source? Yeah, it's obviously we want support industry standardization, as we have like brands in like every European country. If every country would invest like 10,000 developer hours in just getting a list of all their trackers and implementing like the loading of the trackers, this would be quite costful. So standardization is always a good thing. And the other thing is, there are like big players in the market. Google, for example, they are running the biggest ad server in the world, Google DFP, and if Google, they have a closed ecosystem, if they decided to build their own consent manager, which they tried to do, then yeah, we were left out. We were only like following Google, and it would be not in our interest. So, and Google will support this IAB and transparency framework beginning in like January 2019. So this is like a big success. Germany and or Europe working together to form an industry standard, open sourcing some of the software and winning against Google. And of course, yeah, core business is directly affected. So everybody who is not interested in cookie banners or getting consent, the problem is this is your core business. So you make mostly money with digital ads, affiliate marketing, and this is a problem for most of our websites. Yeah. And if I would ask you to take 3 things away for you, the first thing would take a close look at ePrivacy and get involved in the discussion. So Axel Springer was one of the first publishers joining the roundtable. There were only like ad vendors on the table talking about how they could protect their businesses. But as a publisher, we were one of the first together with Schibsted and Daily Mail from UK. So ePrivacy is really a matter, or matters for everybody of us. So take a look at it. The second thing is, if ePrivacy comes into place, you need to know a lot about which trackers are on your website, which tags are on your website. You need a full list of tags. And by next year, you may need to be able to disable a lot of the stuff after the user has given consent or has given us an opt-out. And the third is obviously open source. Let's work together. One of the things I would love to see would be like a WordPress, a Drupal, or even a Thunder CMS plugin for our cookie banner. Questions?
No, applause. Yeah, big applause. First question from Kai.
Yes, I think last week or 2 weeks ago there was a ruling in France against the consent forwarding, and the IAB standard especially is in question. Have you heard about that, and can you give us some insights?
Yes, I have. The IAB Europe has also released a press release about that. The ruling was before they did this consent management with the IAB framework. So this legal stuff was quite before. So it's not affecting the IAB framework, if this answers your questions. Okay. But there's a press release. Just Google press release IAB Europe, you'll find it.
Hi. I have one question. I'm always wondering if I use these opt-in, opt-out buttons, if I opt in if it's on, or if I opt out if it's on.
Yeah. This is a legal interpretation.
Do you have a label before it that I know what I'm doing, or do I have to read the text every time?
Yeah. So this is always between being safe legally and making the most out of the money for digital advertisement. So if you want to be safe, you would disable everything, and OK would enable everything, so it would be an opt-in. But currently, no opt-in is required, in Germany, especially in Germany. So every country has, currently, local laws. So for example, in the Netherlands and the UK, the laws are very strict. So there you need to display a banner which says explicitly what you are doing, and you need to be able to opt out, and it needs to work. So in Germany, for example, we say, Telemediengesetz, that's our legal basis. We have legitimate interest in having the opt-in, so it's more like an information banner. So if you click OK or not, it does not matter, it does not change anything currently. So it's more kind of an information banner. But when ePrivacy comes, you will be opt-outed by default, and it would be an opt-in button. So only clicking OK would enable any tracking on the website. So that's the threat we currently have.
So did all the question marks change into exclamation marks in the sense of Hans Fink? Then I would like to tell you that we have a short break for half an hour. First of all, thank you, Sebastian. And we will continue at 4 o'clock with the 3 other very interesting speakers, and you will have the possibility to ask questions to the Thunder team at the end. They will tell you something about the work in progress at the moment, about ideas they will have for the future. So this is the last point then for today and afterwards, but I tell you that later. We will have a dinner and get together if you want. So enjoy the coffee break and see you in half an hour, I think, yeah? Bye.